Welcome, welcome everyone. Time to do some game development. Oh baby. Oh baby, are we gonna fly? We are locked and loaded. I have a couple things to start with. One is to test this little sound I just put in to the end of this quest beat here. Gotta test the sound, make sure it's working. Move on to the next thing. Okay. We're getting close. We're getting close to being content complete. We are so close. Can't even believe it. Can't believe it's happening. This is weird that this just pops up.
Watch out for the sand. It's not meant for you. Davin and Zale, they've been in a prank war all year. I'm sick.
Okay, let's make sure that this is...
Victory is mine! And finally, silence.
I love how Acorn comes immediately to water the...
My siblings do this to each other all the time. They'll be back to their annoying selves tomorrow. So enjoy the peace while you can.
Okay, that was a weird lighting change that happened at the end. I'm not really sure why that happened. I guess... I don't know. I don't know if that would happen actually in the game. I reckon it would. I think like time was locked for a second maybe. Not entirely certain. But hopefully it's fine. And it has collision, which is great. Hey, Luxuritas. Good to see ya. Hey, Ryan JQ. Okay, cool. So all that seems to be working.
I did confirm with some other people, wool does actually come from sheep.
All right. So that's that. Now we got to move on to the next thing. We've got so many little things here. We have this 7th Shrine Moss Theatrics, which is somewhat important. But I don't know if there's something else more pressing I should do. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I guess let's do the Shrine Theatrics. Okay, Shrine done, waiting for Gary. I'm pretty sure that should be the right start setting. Let's just see if it works. Yeah, and then once we're content complete, I think we'll probably just do... Oh, waiting for... Doesn't seem like I'm in the right spot here.
Psst. Hey, what did you do?
Oh, okay.
Why are the shrines repaired and stronger than ever? Did you have something to do with that? Are you... Oh, witches truly are completely untrustworthy. I'm bringing you to the temple. Immediately. I really can't believe I trusted you. Never trust a witch.
He doesn't seem to have lip sync.
Excuse me.
See his mouth moving.
Of course not. That was just... stop trying to confuse me.
He might need a run animation. I didn't really see his feet moving through that. Let's see. Okay. What does the quest log say this stage? Nothing. That's so weird. So you could just literally leave right now. What if you did? Would it mess everything up? I need to test that because players might do it. They might just leave. I'll save. Call this 7th Shrine. Okay, another issue though is I don't hear any. Oh. It's so quiet. The Temple of Silence is supposed to be louder than that. Let's see. Gosh, it's like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like the audio just deteriorates. Like I just have to redo stuff. Here's, okay, sand sounds, there's reverb, the resonance. Here it is, the singing glow, play on awake, loop, pitch. I don't hear anything changing. I deactivate it. I hear nothing. So what sound am I hearing? God. Okay, spatial blend, let's go 2D. I don't hear anything. Indoor ambient, let's check the audio mixer. God, everything just keeps breaking. Everything keeps regressing. Okay, interior ambient has absolutely no sound going through it right now. So, unbelievable. No sound going through it. The output is interior ambient, but there's no sound going through interior ambient. Why? 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 The volume is 0.9. Priority. And it says we're like in the zone too, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we are. So even if it was a 3D sound, absolute madness, just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Just nothing. The reverb's clearly working. And it's probably going to be way too powerful too. Just drives me bananas. Absolutely drives me bananas. Okay, what if I put some other sound? Does any sound work? Would it ever work? This is clearly the Temple of Silence because I'm modifying stuff inside of it. I can remove the plants, those update, but for some reason, interior ambient. What if I just output directly to the master? Okay, that works. It's a very slow motion sipping sound. If I output to the exterior ambient, nothing. If I output to FX, nothing, because we're in diegetic duck. Is that the problem, that we're in diegetic duck and something has ducked out the sound? D. Forthus says, is the music connected to the area or also to the in-game progress? Wait, is the music connected to the area? In terms of the soundtrack music you're talking about? Yeah, I don't want to go on an answer and answer the wrong thing. Are you talking about the specifically like soundtrack music for the game? Or are you talking about like the spells in the game? Because those are music too. So night is ducked. Okay, it's because diegetic duck is set to 0. That has to be it. But why is diegetic duck set to 0? I guess that is what I'm wondering. If I leave the temple, at what point does diegetic duck get set to 0? We're going to have to look at that. But first, we're going to test if this quest works if we leave. Oh, no. Okay, so we set up a blocker. Perfect. That's good. Your specific problem at the moment because the sound of opening your bag is still there. Gotcha. Yeah, it's not soundtrack music. It's actually just an audio source in this thing. And it seems to be, it's a good guess, but it seems to be because the diegetic duck channel is silenced. I don't know when the diegetic duck happened. Anyhow, let's continue with the quest. I'll have to come back and look at when actually the diegetic duck happened. Diabetic duck? No.
We have brought you here to speak on the terrible actions you've taken against our mission.
She doesn't have a mouth.
Silence is a virtue to be enjoyed by all. You have proven yourself committed to derailing your fellow citizens from walking the path of soundlessness. Your soul is lost.
Okay, I'm going to skip through this.
You are. I both of you.
And we clearly need to turn the reverb down. He needs a different anime. I thought it was
I'm tired of this order.
fun at first, but
Silence is the answer. But they use so much magic constantly. I'm sorry, I think.
okay.
You know there is I have this, and if you want, I don't.
He's got to have some other kind of run animation. There was no sound for that? Right, it's got to be the diegetic duck. Okay, but now we at least have something here. Let me see if I can save at 7th Shrine. Right before we do the thing. That would be lovely. So, click on this. Destroy or repair the shrine. There's no sound for that either. That should be a lot better with sound. Okay, cool. And now that moss is going over everything, which is just what I want. Okay, cool. We should be good now. Just got to figure out that diegetic duck. Is it still ducked? Yes. So somebody has ducked us and never unducked us. So we're going to have to see when that happens. This is not even the thing I wanted to work on. The thing I wanted to work on was the fire effects when you throw the moss in. Oops, that's not what I meant to do.
Hey, what did you do? Why are the shrines repaired and stronger than ever? Did you have something to do with that?
So the music duck has already happened. The diegetic music hasn't happened. Diegetic duck has already happened. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Is it just simply dialogue? Is that what ducks it? Okay, one more time. So I'm keeping an eye on this diegetic duck audio channel. Music Duck. Why is Music Duck already down? Diegetic Duck is up though. That's kind of weird that Music Duck is already down. What would happen? Well, I guess I don't know why the music is being ducked. Also don't know why he's standing here specific. Oh, right, because this is... I know why, never mind. Okay. Now I'm watching the Diegetic Duck. Or as Sad Music Man would say, the Diabetic Duck. And
Hey, what did you do?
so it hasn't gone down yet. It's still at 0. Now it goes down.
I really can't believe I trusted you. Never trust a witch. Excuse me?
But it's... yeah. It's very strange. I don't know why it goes down.
Of course not.
But I can't hear anything. Okay, it went back up now. Didn't go back up before. Is it because like I ran in too fast or what? But now I hear the Temple of Silence noise. Pretty quiet, but I think it's correct. Yeah. And now I'll try to load the 7th shrine save, and I'm going to see if we can actually get back. Look at that. Diegetic Duck is still down. I don't even know when it went down. Very peculiar. Some really weird monkey business. Sad Music Man says, would you agree that growth feels a lot like discouragement, especially in game dev? I don't understand. Okay, like you might be working on an environment and just can't get it right. So you got to fight through an hour of discouragement to finally get somewhere. I guess, is it discouraging? Yeah, I mean, maybe it is discouraging. I'm trying to think of if I feel discouraged or just frustrated. I guess I don't really get discouraged very easily. Not when it comes to game dev. I'll get discouraged for other things in life, but since I've picked game dev as my career, it doesn't ever feel like there's ever there's no quitting. Like quitting is not an option. So I never feel discouraged. I feel angry that it's not working right. Like I feel angry right now from whatever this weird regression bug is. But I never feel like I don't want to do this. Like this is, I should just quit because it's too hard or that it's too frustrating or anything like that. I'm frustrated that I have to deal with this right now, and I'm frustrated that I have to figure this out before I can get to the other thing that was on my list that I was planning on doing. But I wouldn't call it discouraging necessarily. I'm going to try to repair the shrine, or destroy the shrine. No, that's what I did last time. Okay, definitely is more theatrical with that sound in there. We've got to have to look at what's going on with the Diegetic Duck. D4 says, did you crack it when you ran up the gathering and were asking what will happen if I run down? That's possible. That's possible. Yeah, possible that would make the bug. Sad Music Man says, does it ever make you want to quit? I can't say that I've ever wanted to quit game dev even for 1 nanosecond. I know that most people probably don't feel that way, but I've got a screw loose or something. And when I decided I wanted to be a game developer, I was 16 years old. And I've never had even one nanosecond of doubt since then. I've never wanted to quit. I've never thought about quitting. I've never thought of quitting as an option. Yeah, I don't think that you necessarily have to be that way, but that's just the way that I am, and that's the way that I've been. So yeah, I never get to the point where I feel like I should quit. Hey, Saravati. All right, so we have to look at the shrine code. And here's some music ducks that happen with the triggers. And I'm wondering, so there's an all music ducker. So I actually think it's either shrine final. Yeah, here's some more stuff. There's actually nothing about ducking in this. Shrine repair. There's nothing about ducking in this either. Let me go maybe to Gary's conversation. Gary, nothing about Gary. Oh, Gary's silence. Okay, let's see. Anything about, oh, there is ducking. Gary's silence. It's Gary himself. Interesting. Okay, Gary himself does some stuff. I think I understand the bug. I think I understand it. I feel like he's probably entering and disappearing himself before you ever have a chance to call this on trigger exit. So this Gary silence needs to get disabled at some point. After he's at the shrine stage, I think it should get disabled. Yeah, okay. That will make it, that will fix it. Sad Music Man asks, will you ever make a multiplayer game? No. I can answer that 1,000,000,000%. I am more likely to become a business tax accountant than make a multiplayer game. I'm more likely to become a tradesman and hang drywall, I think, than make a multiplayer game. Absolutely no interest in them whatsoever. Single player for life. It's just my thing. I don't particularly like playing them. I'm just a lot more interested. I like a few multiplayer games, but I'm just always been a lot more interested in single player games, and my artistic inspiration never, ever, ever, ever comes in the form of multiplayer for whatever reason. I think it's because I like virtual worlds, and I feel like virtual worlds are destroyed by multiplayer because there's so much teabagging. Or just in general, I feel like playing with your friends, while very fun and super cool, the friends sort of hijack the experience, and it becomes more about your friends than it does about the world, which is cool. And I'm glad that there are games that want to facilitate that experience. But I've never felt a really very strong connection to any MMO world I've ever played. For whatever reason, just sort of takes me out of it a little bit. And I just have a much stronger, more emotional, more artistic, or like more artistically inspiring experiences in something like the Elder Scrolls. Okay, so Gary's silence. What we need to do is we need to look at the NPC Gary. And I'm so glad that he has an object called Gary's Silence, because it means we can easily add a bool activation on it and assign itself. And then I just don't know when to stop Gary's silence. What bool should we tie it to? When does Gary become silent? First of all, we're probably going to want to invert it. And I would think really after the first conversation you have with Gary, let's see, what else do we have? We have Shrine Final, Plant, Burn, Moss. So this is not what I'm thinking of. I want to find whatever quest. Whatever quest teleports Gary. I wonder what component that would be. I guess we can look at Gary's schedule. 1 minute, folks. And we can maybe look at Gary's NPC data and find Gary at the final shrine, Gary after shrine's completed. So whoever is referencing this schedule, actually I can look at the name, Gary after shrine's completed. I can see if the name is in code. I doubt it will be, but I'll check, find all. It is in code. Ancient Shrines. Okay, Ancient Shrines. So that is what is doing this here. And here's where we set the schedule. Gary to Ochre Lake. Interesting. Gary after shrine's completed. So once Gary goes to Ochre Lake, we set the schedule. I wonder exactly what's going on here. Anyway, I do want to set that bool in here. So let's go Ancient Shrines. Let's check that out. And this happens on new day. So actually, I wonder if we've already had the whole quest with his mom. Did we? Let's see. Okay, so there's a bunch of different Gary schedules. I'll look at the Gary conversation. Let's look at Gary's conversations. And let's look at the Silencer 1 conversation. I believe that's the first conversation you have with him. Okay, so there's a bunch of crap that happens at the end of this. We get a quest log. We get an event that says leave first shrine and talk to Gary. Let's take a look at that ancient shrine, leave first shrine. So let's look at that. It seems like a reasonable name. Leave first shrine. So Gary's schedule gets set after first shrine. And the schedule gets refreshed, which actually means that we want to walk away. So I think that at this point he should stop silencing. Pretty sure. So let's get ancient shrines, make sure that's checked out. Shrines. Another thing we want to check out is Gary's silence or whatever. Gary's silence. And I just want to make sure when we leave the first shrine, we want to do like world state dot set bool, and then I want to set this bool like Gary doesn't silence to true. Abish asks what my system specs are. I don't even know. What did I just do? I remember my computer broke, like literally broke, wouldn't start like maybe a year or two ago. And I bought the cheapest goddamn motherboard and processor I could. I have a Core i3, 3.3 gigahertz, which is pretty low end. It was very cheap even at the time. I have 25 gigs of RAM because one of my sticks died. I had 32, but one of them died. Can't be bothered to replace it. Plus RAM is expensive. Doesn't matter. And I have a... What am I using? An RX 6600 graphics card, which is really can't play modern games anymore. Pretty low po. Sad Music Man says, I prototyped a nighttime village theme today, and since your specialty is making spaces feel like places, would you ever be willing to listen to it and critique as you might for a Glimmerwick track? That's a high benchmark. That's a very high benchmark. I don't know. I don't want to be... I'm very picky about music, and I'm very hard on music. And I typically, many composers I feel like sound a little bit too generic for my tastes. Phoenix Glendinning is a very special composer, and I honestly believe he's like one of the best game composers in the world. Now maybe that's just because the kind of stuff we kind of grew up together, we've been really close friends for a long time, and we were even in a band together when we were young. And we liked the same kind of music back then. But yeah, so I don't know if I'm the one to give composer criticism here on the Twitch channel. So sorry, Sad Music Man, I'm gonna have to pass on that one. Okay, so for this Gary doesn't silence thing, I want to make sure that gets set. For Gary's silence, so there's on disable. Here we go. We unduck the audio. That's clever that Jenny put that in. She does not make many bugs, that's for sure. Very careful programmer. Unlike me, I make so many bugs. So I'm going to copy this bool, and then we're going to add the bool activation. We're going to add that bool there. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that should work. And then that will turn off. And that should fix it for us. Okay. Tourmaline7, hello, welcome. All right, thank you for dropping by. I appreciate that. Oh, also, I think I missed a follow. Uraneko. It was a while ago, but if you're still around, thank you for the follow. Thank you very much. All right, so that hopefully should fix that issue. Now we've got to look at that 7th shrine. We've got to clear up this vernacular though. When you interact with the shrine at the final stage of this quest, there's a choice. One of the few branching quests in Glimmerwick. We don't put very many good branching quests for a variety of reasons. Even though many players will like them, we've chosen not to do too many of them. But this one branches, and it branches pretty hard.
Hey, what did you do?
But the problem is, it's unclear. The player verb. Let me exit out of this real quick. I'm gonna. Okay. I'm gonna be loading my save while I'm gabbing here. When the choice comes, it's really hard to know what you're actually choosing, which is a problem because it's kind of like a weird double negative situation, and I need to make it more clear. While this is loading, I'm going to BRB real quick. Okay. All right, I'll show you guys what I mean. So I click on this and it says repair shrine, and I can destroy or repair the shrine. That's fine, but I don't know if destroying or repairing the shrine, I can never remember. It's hard to keep straight whether who you're siding with by destroying the shrine. Do I want to side with Gary? Or have we already had a pass at this? It's almost like I think that it would mean more to players if it said like side with Gary or side with the silence. I feel like they would understand it better. I feel like they might get to this and be like, ah, shit, what? Which one helps Gary or whatever? I'm just worried that they're going to be confused. We need to work on that animation too, because she can't just drop it like that. It's got to actually go into the fire in this case, I think. We also have some candles here that need to be externalized. We have a lot of work to do. Let's get to work. Let's roll up the sleeves. Let's get to work. Tourmaline says, I'm in the UK, so often watch these on catch up. All right. Awesome. Okay, I'm glad you dig the demo. Thank you so much for checking it out. And of course, thanks for playing Eastshade and leaving Linda. I really appreciate that. Yeah, sometimes I stream at crazy times. I'm actually on a very crazy schedule right now. I wake up at midnight in my time. That's when I wake up, and I go to bed at around 4 p.m. And I do that because I'm up with we have a newborn. He's 3 weeks old. And so I stay with him. I stay up with him at night, and I try to work at night. And sometimes he lets me work. Sometimes he sleeps. But it's just so impossible to stream because I don't know if he's going to sleep for 2 hours or 10 minutes. Or 1 minute. It's completely random right now. So it's just impossible to get into a stream. I'd be leaving all the time and even when he does wake up, it might take 5 minutes to put him back to bed, or it might take 3 hours to put him back to bed, or 5 hours to put him back to bed. So it's very impossible. But I would like to stream in the wee hours, but it's really a luxury even to be streaming right now, because normally I wouldn't even, my schedule is just really no place for streaming at all right now. This is a special day though. A variety of reasons. Hey Nanani, hello. Yeah, rare afternoon stream. Abish says, did you create the game art yourself? We have a team of 3. It's myself, it's one full-time programmer, Jenny, and my wife, Jacqueline. And my wife is the lead artist and lead designer and lead writer and sort of creative director of the project. And she illustrated every single thing on the screen. 99.5% of everything on the screen. Sad Music Man asks, biggest game dev idol? Ooh, I don't know. Don't know if I really have a game dev idol. I don't really know if I have an idol. There's certainly people that if they're in an interview, I'll definitely click on it. But I don't know if necessarily I would say idol. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I have an idol. It's also I feel like game development specifically has this issue where I don't really know what anyone did. Like, my favorite game of all time is Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I don't know how much Todd Howard actually did on that game. I don't know if he has jack diddly squat to do with that game. Like, who even knows, right? He was probably executive producer or something. I don't know. Like, did he write a single quest? How involved was he in any of the design decisions? I'm 100% certain he wasn't involved in any of the art. So, I don't know. It's really hard. Oh, thanks, Tourmaline. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, he's our second. We have a almost 3-year-old and our 3-week-old. What's your favorite indie game or one that you found most impressive? Ooh, my favorite indie game. There's a lot I really like. I really, really liked Ghost of a Tale. I'll link to it. I thought Ghost of a Tale was a really unique, special game that I got really sucked into. And I really like the art for it as well. And I also really enjoyed Valheim a lot. Jacqueline and I, we played the heck out of that. We still dream about playing it one day if we ever get time. Maybe when we're like 45 or something and the children are older, then we'll have an hour to play a video game or something. No, I'm sure we'll have time before then, but yeah, we really liked that game a lot. Let's see. Oh, I missed quite a few messages. Oh, D4 says, just an idea would be funny when the sound bug occurs. You already implemented the tooltip in the loading screen when everything is silent. Gary has maybe the need to talk. Turn our bug into a joke. Sad Music Man says, did you know you were ready for a child? That's something I'm very nervous about. Well, it was sort of, I'm 35 and Jacqueline is 34. So basically it was now or never. You can't wait really any longer. So, I mean, you could maybe wait a few more years, but it quickly gets harder. But I would say I felt ready. I mean, Jacqueline really wanted a kid. She didn't want a kid forever. She thought she didn't want a kid. And then a couple years before Ollie was born, she said, I actually do really want a child. Actually, she was pretty certain she was having a child, and if I wanted to be the father, then I could. No, I was just kidding. But I was sort of surprised at how okay I was with either. I think I could have been happy without having kids, and I thought I could be happy with kids, and I definitely can. So it's very, 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 very hard right now. It's definitely the hardest my life has ever been by an extremely wide margin. And if you really like your creature comforts, then it will really suck for you. I really like working. So that was the big sacrifice I made. I knew that I just wasn't going to be able to work as much. And I was worried a little bit about losing focus on my work. But I also felt very comfortable because we had shipped Eastshade. And I always thought that if I could just finish Eastshade, then I can die. I thought, if I get hit by a car, let it be after I ship Eastshade, because I will feel complete and I will feel happy with really my life. After finishing Eastshade, even while I was working on it, I felt like this is what I was born to do. This is all I want to do. And if I can finish this game I was so romantic about the idea of finishing it and shipping it and what the game would be. And yeah, and we finished it, and we finished it to a pretty high standard that I was really happy with. And then I felt like I could die. So once I was already there, you know, and I know not everyone is like has accomplished all their career stuff before they have children. That's a very fortunate position to be in. But since I had shipped Eastshade, I felt like, you know what? If we have a kid or two and it absolutely rocks my world, it's okay. It's all right. If I lose, you know, a couple years here, then that's all right. Because I was just really happy with having shipped Eastshade. But, you know, we've been working, maybe not quite as much. And now we're sort of, I wish we had started paying for childcare earlier, because at first we were kind of trepidatious about it. And we thought we could do it just the two of us. And if we had just been like, what are we doing here? Let's just get a nanny and, like, you know, really get as much childcare as we possibly can and pay family members and stuff to watch the kids, or at the time kid, then would have been a little bit easier. But now we're getting as much childcare as we possibly can so we can finish this game. Okay, I think I'm almost caught up. Oh, Looper Cal says we have a 5-month-old and he's hard work. Oh, congratulations. And I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope you're getting some sleep. And I will say, it sounds like just one 5-month-old. I really wish people didn't make all those jokes about how they only get easier when they're like 25 or whatever, because I was like dying. And I will say that I think that they get way, 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 way easier. I think that 5 months old is really hard, and 1.5 is so much easier. It's like night and day. That's my opinion, but I guess it depends on the kid too. Our first was not a very good sleeper, so kind of made life a nightmare, really. But he started sleeping better. So Spiritfarer was one I really loved. Oh, Spiritfarer is amazing. Absolute masterpiece, I think. Glimmerwick stands to dethrone it. Oh man, that's something, because I consider Spiritfarer an absolute masterpiece of a game. It's a game that I didn't like and that I wish I never played, because it really messed me up. Like, it made me really sad. And it made me really fear death a lot more than I did before. It actually probably was the most impactful game I've ever played on my emotional state. And I know that it did not do that for most people. Most people, it made them feel better about death. For me, it made me feel way worse about death. And it really messed me up. It made me really sad. I would say it took me like at least 2 weeks to recover from it. I was like legitimately really sad every day. That being said, I think it's an amazing game and a masterpiece. And I'm glad that it was made. I'm just not glad that I played it. But actually, now in hindsight, I've healed from it. So maybe I am glad that I played it. I don't know. Timing worked out so well for you guys. Yeah. You know, we legitimately talked about, Jacqueline said we should wait until Glimmerwick is out before we have a baby. And I was really, really hard on I was a absolutist on the decision that we should not plan our children's age gap around our game release schedule, that we should just, you know, go for the age gap we want. You know, you have so little control over these things. It's not like if we wanted to have a child right after Glimmerwick shipped, it's not like we just can magically make that happen. You know, like it can take 1 month if you get lucky, or it can take a year. You know, that would be normal. Like, normal healthy people can still take easily 6 months, you know, to actually get pregnant. So you could end up with a much bigger age gap. And then of course we also had, maybe this is TMI for the stream, but we also had 1 miscarriage. So that also expanded the timing. And then with that, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen. So we opted to not try to plan the release schedule and the babies together. We just, this is the age gap we're going for, and whatever happens with the games is what happens, and we'll just figure it out. And it remains to be seen if we will in fact figure it out, but I still have no regrets. It's just going to be a hard year. We're just going to work for our lives. Did you ever have to cut scope for Eastshade? if anything, Eastshade grew in scope throughout the development. We did make a couple cuts at the end, a couple cuts. But I would say that by the end, the game was definitely bigger than the original plan for the game. Every parent I know digs in their heels about childcare only to eventually have the epiphany that they need it. That is so funny. That is so funny. Why do we all do it? Why don't we all just like, okay, we're having a baby. Let's line up some childcare. I don't know. It is expensive. It's extraordinarily expensive, especially in the Western world. Spiritfarer is a masterclass in storytelling. I hated how much it made me feel. Interesting. Okay. Made me feel awful. You are the first person who has told me it made them feel awful. Most people say it made them feel better. It helped them cope with death. But I guess I'm glad I wasn't completely alone in that, because it definitely messed me up. I cried so many times. I actually cried every time I played that game. Oh gosh. At least every time I ferried a spirit, I would definitely cry, and it was sucky. But I couldn't stop playing it. It was too, it's too amazing. What an amazing game. Lupercal Rising says, I never completed Spiritfarer. I just finished Tunic, which was amazing, and now I'm playing Animal Well. Oh, okay. I haven't played that one. Appleloss says, I think I found Spiritfarer very heartwarming. That's good. I'm glad. Although it's been harder to do a new playthrough since my grandparents have now passed. Interesting. Interesting. So it was easy for you until you had a tough loss. And for me, I have not had such even a, I guess my grandparents, some of them have passed, but my aunt passed away, and it was really, really sad. I can't even imagine if, one day it's going to be like my mom or something. And I kept thinking about my aunt while playing Spiritfarer, and it made it way more sad for me. I wonder if I had played it before my aunt passed away. I really had never dealt with a death before that of someone who I was close to. So anyway, baby comes when baby wants. That's exactly right. Tourmaline says, I admire your refusal to buy high-end PCs. Yeah, I'll probably break down if Glimmerwick does as well as I hope it will, then I'll probably get a better PC, but for now. All right, rock on. Glad you've wishlisted Ghost of Eltail Tourmaline. I hope you enjoy it. Oh, I don't even remember the individual characters. Man, they all messed me up so bad. All right. I think I'm caught up. So that should fix that issue. Now let's open up the 7th shrine. Shrine interior. What is the interior called? 7th shrine. There it is. Okay, and these candles, unfortunately, I need to check out the texture, which is sad because it just makes a really big... It's a version control burden, I feel like, every time I check out one of these big textures. I wish it wasn't something I have to worry about. I don't know why I do worry about it. I feel like these private servers, they usually charge based on space, which doesn't really make sense to me. It seems like they should charge based on compute or like server load, because we have a very light server load, but we're very high storage we need. And there really aren't plans to accommodate that. Kind of annoying. Okay. So first of all, I need to get rid of the fires there. Those little candles need to be made into a particle. Washington is too expensive. Nice. Yeah, Washington is extremely expensive. Lupercal says, do you think the indie scene has changed since you released Eastshade? A little bit. Not super a lot, but definitely a little bit. It's been a long time. It's been 7 years. I think wish lists are worth a little bit less than they used to be. Only a little bit. Not like anything crazy. And it's still the most important pre-launch metric you have. But yeah, I think some things have changed. I mean, we've seen the friend slop genre take off, or co-op as some people call it. And but a lot of the same things. It's mostly the same. I'd say it's like 90% the same. And I hope it stays the same for a long time because I really like making games. And in this current market, I feel like we can make games that sell. I'm worried it'll go away one day. But right now, I still feel like the golden age is going strong. I feel like we are in a golden age. And the golden age is now. And it's been now for a long time, for at least 10 years or more. Probably even longer, like maybe like 15 years. And I hope it lasts. I don't know if it will. So I just need to get rid of these flames. Fortunately, they're on their own layer, which I'm really happy about. And then we need to make them into particle flames. So I need to save that and go back. Let's see. Apple Bloss says, speaking of games developed by you all, sometimes I feel like one of the few people who loved Eastshade. Love peaceful open world games, the beauty of the idea, and all the quest puzzles included. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. You're not the only one. The game has grossed about $3.6 million. So it has sold some copies. Most publishers would call Eastshade a hit. Most publishers would be happy to have signed it. But, you know, the world is really big. And unless you get to like absolutely cultural bonanza levels, you're not really going to run into people in the wild who have played. There's just so many games on Steam and there's so many people playing games. There's just such a big middle class of games. There's so many games on Steam making millions of dollars. Literally hundreds of games every year go on to make over $1 million in gross lifetime revenue on just Steam alone, not even including the other platforms that they sold on. And yeah, I mean, that's just like thousands and thousands of games that have an audience, but the likelihood that anybody from that audience will have, you know, met or talked to each other is really low. You really have to be like an Elden Ring before all your friends will start talking about it. But yeah, it's just one of those games. Eastshade is an upper middle class game that made, you know, plenty of money, but not enough to really make it to the mainstream. And I don't know if Eastshade could have ever made it to the mainstream. It's a weird game. And I think people tend to want to buy, you know, what they already understand and what they know. And Eastshade doesn't have combat in it, which most people, for whatever reason, just can't wrap their heads around or just aren't interested in. Apple Bloss says, I read somewhere there wasn't going to be further development into that series. Which series? Eastshade? Or are we talking about something else? Maybe I've lost the plot here. Maybe some other game I mentioned. No Discord command. Yeah, that's right. Whenever I hear friend slop, I think of the visual of getting my eye gouged out with a rusty spoon. Oh, okay. What are your wish lists like for this game, if you don't mind sharing? Yeah, we just passed 150,000 wish lists yesterday, actually. Biggest publisher that has reached out for Glimmerwick. I'm not going to say that. I feel like, you know, when a publisher reaches out to you, I don't know if they necessarily want you running around being like, hey, they wanted to sign us, but we said no. I don't know if that would please them too much. Oh yeah. Eastshade is done. The game is done, but we're not making an Eastshade sequel. Yeah. Yeah, definitely won't return to Eastshade. But I think all of the games we make are going to be like Eastshade in many ways. So we're always going to make virtual worlds. We're always going to make games without combat loops. We're always going to make games with lots of NPCs and games with... I love voice acting. I just love it. I love casting. I love seeing the characters come to life. So we're always going to make these big worlds full of NPCs and fully voiced people. And it's always going to have that sort of mystical kind of otherworldly, you know, far out high fantasy vibe. I think that every game we make is going to have Eastshade DNA in it. Hopefully that's enough. Looper Kyle says, why did you choose this game to make? What are your inspirations? This game was, Eastshade was sort of my baby, and this game is Jacqueline's baby, my wife. She pitched the game to me in a coffee shop one fateful day in 2016, and I said, that is the game we're making. That sounds absolutely amazing. That's what we moved on to right after Eastshade. Have you ever thought about making a game purely for profit? Are you always trying to go for artistry? Sometimes Jack and I joke about making a game purely for profit. I don't think we'd ever do it. Our games make pretty decent money. I'm sure we could make way more money if we, you know, sat down and tried to pick a game that specifically would make a lot of money, but who knows? I don't know. But no, I don't think we'd ever do that. I mean, we're fairly comfortable, and especially once Glimmerwick ships, I think that we're going to be, I think we're going to be like good to go. After Glimmerwick ships, it's possible we won't really have to worry about money anymore. Not that it'll make like $100 million or anything crazy like that, but you know, you plug in Glimmerwick's wishlist count into pretty much any Steam, you know, revenue calculator, and it's going to tell you, you know, lifetime revenue of 4 to 10 million, depending on how you extrapolate out, you know, how many wish lists we'll have by launch. I think we'll have 200,000 by launch. So it's a lot of money, and we don't have like a lot of people to pay back, you know? So it should make life quite easy for us, I think. Yeah, Eastshade's a weird one for sure. A lot of wishes coming after you launch. So I don't care about post-launch wish lists. I only ever care about pre-launch wish lists, just because once you launch, who cares about wish lists? You have sales. So the only reason why I think people care about wish lists are to predict revenue. But once you have revenue, then revenue is the best predictor of revenue, right? Just past revenue. So yeah, you'd get a ton of wish lists when your game launches, but it's not the same as looking at all the statistics that tell you how much revenue you're going to make based on your pre-launch wish list count. Once you launch, you no longer have a pre-launch wish list count. You have a post-launch wish list count, which just completely explodes your wish list. This is technically our third game that we're working on right now. I'm going to see if I can get a little fire in here. I don't really know how to make the moss look like it's falling into here. I think we're going to have to maybe change the projection a little bit. Anyway, first of all, let's do a candle. Candle flame. Let's stick it in here. Oops, why didn't it come in? Okay. Go global. And let's see if we can... Oh, that's a tiny baby flame. This is a special kind of candle. It's going to have a much bigger flame. I'll activate this sphere, and what that does is it just helps us position the candle, because it's really hard to see otherwise. And it's rotated at 30 degrees. I'm just going to rotate it back to 0. And we're just going to stick this right here, and then we'll get the animation and the flickering and all that. We have not announced our price. But between you and me and everyone else in this chat, it's going to be $25 or $30. But pricing is really hard. It's a really long game. But we also just have to think about the genre and stuff, so 25 is the safe bet. We've already shipped a game for 25. Although this game is does not appear to be 3D to people, so sometimes that they feel like that means the game should be cheaper. Which is sort of silly, but it doesn't really matter whether it's silly or not. It only matters what people are willing to pay. And yeah, pricing is hard. But yeah, it's going to be 25 or 30. Leaning towards 25 right now. Laconda says, I always wondered how precise those revenue calculators are since they don't have real data. Yeah, they're not precise. They say eShade has a net revenue of 1.25 million. Is that somewhat accurate? What was the hardest part when releasing your game? They all say something slightly different, but yeah, I would say 1.25 million for net on Steam alone, right? Just Steam is that's less than we made. We probably made more like, in terms of net revenue, probably more like two-ish from Steam. So I would say 1.25 is a great estimate. A little bit underestimated, but that's fine, right? That's the order of magnitude is completely correct there. If someone needed like to the penny accurate revenue, then of course, we don't have that information, but if you just want a ballpark of roughly how much a game made, then 1.25 is perfect. That's all you need. I mean, that's more than you need. That's perfectly accurate. You know that it made, somewhere between $1 and $2 million, something like that. As long as it gets the order of magnitude right, I think it would still be useful. Even if it said eShade made 4 million, or if it said eShade made 800,000, I still think it'd be useful. Because what else do you have? You have nothing, right? If you don't have the actual data, and you want some kind of knowledge and you're doing some research, maybe you're sizing up, what games sold. It's whether a game made $1,000 or whether a game made $1.25 million, that's really the only, okay, maybe whether a game made 100,000 or a game made 1.25 million, that's a useful distinction. But beyond that, whether it made 1.25 million or it made 2 million, I mean, who really cares? That's not really gonna move the needle much for as far as like market research, in my opinion. So I think that they're perfectly accurate. The box leader, which is what most of them use, is still a good accurate measure of revenue. And Valve seems to not care that we're using it, and because they haven't done anything to they could easily like hide the review count or something like that. So they seem to not mind. Let's do 7th. So I just need to place those candles here because most of them are pretty good, but we can see that the ones on the right, pretty much all the ones on the right just need to be moved a little bit. Lupercal says, my advice would be 25. I think it fits in my games like Tunic. Okay. That's good to know. I appreciate that, Lupercal. Yeah, always interested to hear what people's gut says, because when it comes to price, normally the gut doesn't mean much, but when it comes to pricing, the gut, it feels like almost most of what we have. I mean, we can look at, other games and stuff, but pricing's very hard. But that's good to know. Yeah, 25 seems like the safe bet for sure. We're leaning towards that. Lacan says, what was your strategy in order to get people to know about the game? Sometimes I feel like you can have the best game and still not be successful because you can't find buyers. Oh, man. How many people have heard my tirade on this? Is it like everyone in the chat? Have all 47 people in the chat right now been like, shut up, Danny. We've heard you say this a million times. Because boy, do I have strong feelings on this. Sad Music Man says, why would someone play this game rather than W? Rather than, over Witchbrook or Hogwarts Legacy? Well, Witchbrook's not out yet, so we have no idea what Witchbrook, I mean, Witchbrook looks cool. I don't think it's going to be anything like Glimmerwick at all. It doesn't look like it's going to be a quest heavy game. And as far as Hogwarts Legacy, first of all, we don't really need that. There's a false sort of zero sum there, because turns out a lot of people who loved Hogwarts Legacy are excited about Glimmerwick and are going to buy Glimmerwick. And actually in our feedback forms, of which we have about 130 feedback forms that the public have given us, people we don't know, they're just random players. So many have told us, it reminds me of Hogwarts Legacy. I loved Hogwarts Legacy. I'm so excited about this game because it reminded me of Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm so happy to be getting more of that. Right? It's a single player content game, so you don't have to like pull people away from the game, right? People use it up, they play it, and they're done with it, and they move on. But I also think that the tone is completely different. The quests are different. We have our own thing going at Eastshade Studios, and I think if you've played the demo, I don't know if you have, I think you would agree. It's a different feeling of a game. It's more highly authored. It's less, there's less stuff in it. It's more personal. It's more of a grand garden. It's tighter. Like the game world is tighter. Everything is there for a reason. Yeah, Hogwarts Legacy is awesome. I mean, the game is awesome. It is. But yeah, I think anyway, people are excited about Glimmerwick either way. It's got a unique vibe, I think. Let me thank all those folks. Julio, thank you so much for the follow, and Lakonda, appreciate that follow very much. Thank you, guys. Oh, so Lakonda asked, sometimes I feel like you can have the best game and still not be successful because you can't find buyers. That has not been my experience. In fact, I feel so strongly about this, I made an entire video on it. I'll just post it. And it's controversial amongst, it's not controversial amongst professional indie developers. It's not controversial among people who have made money on Steam, but it is controversial among people who want to make money on Steam. There seems to be this idea that there's all these hidden gems on Steam. There's all these great products that failed at marketing that nobody's ever heard of, so they didn't sell. I see almost no hidden gems. I don't see games that look like they should have made $1 million, but for some reason they got 10 reviews. I've literally never seen that in my entire life. And I've scrubbed Steam more than most, not even more than most. It's almost like a joke. Like Steam, let's see, Steam. I wrote an entire, I'm one of the first ones to actually scrape Steam. Let's see if I can find the original article here. And I had this really popular article. It was on Gamasutra back when it was called Gamasutra. Here, I'll post it. Not that the article now, there's much better sources for this kind of data, but like, I'm really nerdy about this, and I really been eyeball deep in Steam for a long time. And I like look at Steam games. I look at Steam pages for fun, like as a hobby. Like it's really weird. I'll spend like an hour just like looking at Steam pages, and looking at their review counts too, and looking at their revenue and stuff. And I just really have not seen a lot. The Steam market to me is extraordinarily rational. It's so rational. It's insanely rational. Like most people who know this, who are good at this, who have, or who are well immersed in Steam, they can look at a Steam page with a hidden review count and guess at the revenue of how much it made and be right like 80% of the time. And when we contest it now, because Jonas Tyroller, who's another indie dev on YouTube and also has a number of really amazing hit games, he wrote the review count guesser, which is a tool, which is a plugin for Chrome that hides the review count and instead replaces it with these little guessing icons where you can guess the revenue of a Steam page just by looking at the Steam page. So you just look at the trailer and a couple screenshots and you already kind of know how much money that game made just by the way it looks, just by what you're seeing, right? The UIs, the genre, the scope, the release dates. Just you can kind of size up the production, and you can kind of size up the quality of game really just by looking at it. And it pretty much lines up with how much games make. I mean, there's a bit of genre in there because certain genres just do not sell well on Steam. But in general, discoverability is not a problem right now. That's why we're in a golden age. Discoverability is not a problem. Build it and they will come. That's the position we're in. I know a lot of indies don't believe that and won't believe it. They think I'm talking nonsense. But I really believe that. Right now on Steam, you don't need to do jack diddly squat. If you make a thing that people want to buy, they will freaking buy it. And then you will get pushed up in the Steam ladder and the Steam algorithm. Steam shows you to like hundreds of thousands of people when you release your game. Most of the time, people don't want to buy it. And then Steam's just like, all right, nobody wants to buy this. And then it goes kerplunk and it pretty much hides it. But if a lot of people are buying it, then you get pushed up, you get into new and trending. If a lot of people are buying it, then you get pushed up even further. You go into popular new releases. And if people are buying it, then you make a lot of revenue. Steam offers you a daily deal, and then you make a lot of money off of that. You just work your way up all of these offers. But you just have to have a thing that people want, and they need to want it right when they see it. And the way you do that is just make a game that is interesting to people, that when they see it, they think it's something spectacular just by seeing it, not by necessarily by playing it. Although now we have the Next Fest and Steam demos are so much more prominent now than they were before. It's getting to be at the point where even playing it, even games just that play well are able to break out. So it's really a very special time. It's might be the best time that it has ever been for video games. I need a way to drop something into here. And I'm considering whether I want to make this like a 2-layer thing. Oh boy. Or it's just more work than it's worth. I think I'm just going to have to make a little like moss animation that that goes here. So let's put a quad here. All right, that's my tirade. I'm sorry, everyone. I've been on that tirade so many times. I hope that that you guys aren't too tired of hearing it. Let's see. Okay, I'm 46, so I haven't lost viewers from that tirade. But I know it's kind of blasphemous. Again, it's not blasphemous amongst people, amongst like successful career indies. It's not blasphemous. We all know that it's mostly just the game. Like literally, we all know that. And when we, see our colleagues, when we see, like other ex-successful dev who's my buddy, their game popped off, we never wonder, I wonder what they did to get all those wish lists. We never wonder that. We just know. We're like, we can see it in the Steam page. Like we just know why people were interested in that. And it's beautiful. That's exactly what it should be, right? That's the dream, that you just build something that people want and it can float. And that is the position we're in right now. I really believe that. Okay, let's do moss. It's not, I'll call it Gary's moss material. All right, let me catch up with chat. I'm gabbing and gabbing. Okay. Hey, now Nani says Witchbrook and Glimmerwick are not the same. Happy to hear it. Yeah, it seems like Witchbrook is going to be a lot more simulation focused and like dynamic NPC focused. or just generally simulation focused, which is super cool. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. Melon Polygon says, I'm a solo developer. Hello, by the way, welcome. Thank you for dropping by the stream. Releasing my game on Steam on the 8th. Okay, it's called Insomnia Chapter 1. If you have a minute, please check out the page. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Sure, I'll check out the page. Yeah, I like looking at people's games. I'll copy that to my clipboard and then finish getting through the chat. Julio, hello, welcome. Oxy says, have you had to pitch to publishers a lot? How deep did you have to dive into market research? We did not pitch to any publishers because we don't want a publisher. We had enough money to make this game ourselves. We invested all of our money and we thought we were going to make it back. And I think we're going to make our money back and a lot more. We have 150,000 wish lists. So we managed to do it without a publisher. We've had a lot of publishers pitch to us, but we haven't had to go pitching to other publishers because Eastshade made enough money to where we could fund this game. Probably spent a little bit more than we would have liked to on this game, but it's the nature of game development, especially when you have the artist being the publisher. You know, the artist is always going to want to fight for the product and spend too much. I'm sure a publisher would be breathing down our necks telling us to ship it already. And for this particular game, I think that would be a mistake. It's a very big game, but I think that the size of it will be something that drives sales because I think people like big games. And I think that the scope of this game is going to impress people. Hey, Nanani says, it's not controversial if you sit and give it a think. Yeah, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. It's hard. It's hard for people to admit to themselves that because making a game is so incredibly difficult, even making a unremarkable game is incredibly difficult. It's hard for them to say, oh, people didn't buy my game because it just wasn't good enough. The quality bar is freaking bananas. It's bananas. It's so high that it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's just hard. It's hard to make a game that people want. People want something really, really good. Hakim says, what are you making? I'm glad you asked. The game is called Songs of Glimmerwick. It's a Witch Academy RPG where the magic of the world is music. All right, Rock On, thanks for Googling it, and thank you for the kind words. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Nani, yes, there's a demo, and you can play it right now. Appreciate you, Lacan. All right. I'm glad it makes you hopeful, because if it makes you hopeful, that means you've got it. Because some people hear that and they feel sad. And to me, the only thing that could mean is that they're not ready to compete. And that's going to be a hard attitude to succeed in this industry. But if you hear that and you're like, hell yeah, that sounds amazing. Like, if I just make something good, like really, really, really good, people are going to buy it. There's a genre. Genre is important because some games don't sell well on Steam. So that has to be considered. But beyond that, and there really is so many genres that you can do that can be successful on Steam. It's not like Steam likes one kind of game. Steam likes hundreds of different kinds of games. But there are some games that Steam is just not interested in. But I think that's great that you have a good attitude, that it makes you hopeful, because it makes me hopeful. It pumps me up when I learn, and when I've learned over the last 15 years, as I've been researching this, I've just been reinforced in this feeling that, like, knock their socks off and the algorithm will float you, basically. The Steam algorithm. Not even just the Steam algorithm, but everything, right? The showcases, the festivals, the journalists, the YouTubers, the streamers. Everyone is dancing to the same beat, which is the beat of, like, fundamental appeal. And if you can just make something that people really are very interested in playing right when they see it, they're just like, oh my God, that looks amazing. I want to be in that world. Then that's how to do it. That's the way to do it. Use shader and use world Y as mask. I'm trying to think of what we were talking about. I've lost the plot a little on that suggestion. Hey, Nani says, indie games are just better. Yeah, well, I'm glad the market can support so many different kinds of games. I'll say that. Neverix, hello, welcome. Applemoss says, will Glimmerwick be a Steam release only? Eastshade came to consoles after time. yes, we do plan on porting to consoles. I don't know exactly which ones just yet, but we do plan on porting to consoles. Hopefully it won't just be Steam. For Switch 1. Oh man. I mean, I think it would run on Switch 1. I don't think it's particularly a hungry game. I don't know. I think we will find a publisher for the I'm gonna make this into a plain replacement. We will find a publisher to port the game. I don't want to port the game. I don't want anything to do with it. Nothing. I don't want to have any hand in it whatsoever. I don't want to be talking to the platforms. Nothing. I want someone else to do absolutely everything, and I want them to do it on revenue share, which is a good deal for a game like Glimmerwick. It's a sure thing because it will have already shipped on Steam and it will already have made $1 million. I'm sure of it, and I'm sure people would be happy to publish that game on consoles, and they can take rev share. They can take a good hefty rev share so that they can negotiate with the platforms and they can manage all the discounts and they can get us in all the sales and they can do all the stuff and they can fight for their own, fighting for the game. They'll be fighting for their own money. I don't want to handle that. I don't want to talk to the freaking console holders. Don't want to deal with it. I just want to make games. Too good at making games. Too good at making games to waste myself. Waste the precious hours I have left in my life dealing with that. Okay, so I need to make this little animation where the moss falls in here. And there should already be a fire. I'll make a parent, so like moss. I'll call it like Gary's moss toss. Gary's moss toss. And then we'll stick this quad in there. Okay. Teresa asks, is console revenue generally higher than Steam? Hell no. Steam rules the roost. Steam is everyone's overlord. Gaben is our master. And actually, consoles bow down their heads to Steam, for Steam is their god. No, Steam makes way more money than consoles. Like for most games. If you're like a first party game and you shipped as like a launch title and you had the entire support of the platform, and then 5 years later you put it on Steam or something, maybe then you make more money on the console. But by and large, Steam is the best platform. You make more money on it than anything else. And actually, the consoles will even use Steam for their negotiations. Like back when Microsoft was doing all the Game Pass deal, I don't know this. I've never worked at Microsoft, and this is not insider intel, but I know that they were looking at the review counts on Steam and using the box leader to negotiate deals, lump sums with the developers. For sure they were, because we had a Game Pass deal and we know what the payout looked like. And it, not coincidentally, was, we know that Game Pass cannibalizes about 30%. About 30% of Steam users have a Game Pass account. So we can assume it probably cannibalizes about 30% of your sales. And, not coincidentally, I think that they looked at what would probably our revenue numbers, for the last year, and they sort of did some math and they were like, if we offer them this, they'll probably take it. And so they're actually using Steam to negotiate, because like Steam is like the standard by which everyone looks up to, I think. Oxy asks, is this based on research? Doesn't that depend on genre? I assume that action/adventure probably do better than on consoles. I don't think there are any genres that do better on console on the whole. Maybe, but by and large, nobody is making as much money. As far as I know, I don't know of any games that just like sold really well on consoles and bombed on Steam. There are games that sold well on mobile and bombed on Steam, maybe, but I don't know of any games that did better. But no, I haven't. I don't have good access to console data for a broad variety of games. Alxi. I mean, for sure, our games have made so little money on consoles compared to Steam. Hakim says, so you have custom shaders for the graphics, or you relay the textures to do the work. We have a lot of custom shaders, but the game doesn't have a lot of lighting in it. It's mostly just the illustrations and the textures. Okay, let's create an animation. I'll call it Moss Toss. And let's put it in animation. And then I just want to animate the moss getting tossed. So I will just set the position and I'll set the scale as well. And then we can just, oops. So we got one key there, and then we'll just sort of do a little toss motion and just scale it out of existence here. Something like that. It looks, I think it's going to look a little bad to do that. It doesn't really look like it's being tossed in. Oh, you know what would actually work? Is if instead of scaling it out, let's just remove the scale. I just like literally clipped it. That's definitely going to work. Let's do that. So I'll key the rotation, and then we'll go here, and then I'll just shove it in like this. And then it'll just sort of clip right through, and it'll look like it's passing behind. I think that'll work fine. Yeah, right here. And then I'll extend this out a little, and we'll have a moment where it sort of goes up, like she kind of tosses it. He or she. Move this down a little. Move this up a little. That looks really janky. Let's move this over. And I guess move this forward. There, that looks a little bit better. Okay, and then I guess we want to push this forward. Oh, no, that's not working. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, how about that? From the camera perspective, we can't really see it, but definitely looks more like it's being tossed in now, and I think that's all we need. And then I will take, well, first of all, we'll put an animation component on this. Oh, we've got an animation component. We've got an animator. I actually don't want an animator. I just want an animation component. Oops. Oops, 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 oops. Oh yeah, that's fine. We'll remove that. Let's do animation. Animation, and then I want that moss toss animation. Grab it. Ooh, automatically made this stupid controller for us. Oh, wait. I'm gonna undo that. Uh-oh. Oh yeah, okay. I think that's fine. I didn't delete anything important, did I? No, hopefully not. I'm not gonna loop it. I'm also gonna set it to be a legacy animation using the debug mode. And we'll just say clamp forever is the behavior I want. And then in the animation, we'll do turn off debug mode here. And let's do moss toss. Okay, there we go. And now we should see the animation. Perfect. Stayed intact. All right. Hey, Nanani says, my household play Ishan on console. That's good. That's good to hear. I know a lot of people played it on Game Pass, for sure. I don't know if you played it on Game Pass. Oxy says, need to give that movement an arc. Oh, yes, yes, we did that. Can also add a tiny hold when it's at the peak. Okay. Put another key in there. Very nice. Thank you, Oxy. Okay, let's save that. Well, actually, I'll put a bool. Well, let's turn off animation mode here. Cute moss toss. Thank you. And we'll just set this to be activated whenever this bool is set. We'll do Gary moss toss. And I need to find the component here, or the script here. Moss spreader, shrine final. So there's burn the moss. Let's set one more bool. Shrine final. World state dot set bool. We use a lot of string flags. Oh, I forgot. I got it. I'll be right back, folks. always confusing the... All right, well, here we go. So we just, we got the bool, and then this thing should activate. And that'll go in there. We got the fire. Let's look at our design doc here. Jacqueline made us a design doc. Here we go. Okay. When you first enter the 7th shrine, there's a little fire. If you destroy the shrine, the fire goes out and the moss grows. If you repair the shrine, okay. So the fire needs to go out. Fire gets bigger. Okay. So we've got to make some fire. Let's see what we can do. We're not going to be able to make this cool fire. It's going to look a little different, but it'll look cool in its own way. Let's constrain our search to prefabs. All right, so what we need to do here is we need to unpack this prefab and just get the flipbook out. So we have a flipbook fire. And I think I can delete everything else. I'm not sure. Do we even need a glow? I guess, okay, I'll keep one glow around. Maybe we'll use it. And let's delete everything else. Yes, fire. And then let's make this a little wider. This is a glow. Let's get, oops. Make this rotation something sensible. We've got some wacky rotations here. I think that maybe the glow is going to be a little bit much. I don't think we're actually going to want to glow. So let's go with just the flipbook. Now, I wonder if we do a bunch of flipbooks, if this is going to look ridiculous. Because we're going to have to at least vary it. I'm already feeling like it's probably going to look ridiculous. But if we can get them all to start at different points in their cycle, then we might get away with it. Man, it's kind of crazy how many we need, though. Okay, let's make some of them small, like this one at the end. I do want it to be contiguous. It's already such a big fire. And we're going to have to get them all to scale as well and not look ridiculous, so. Maybe this one will get this one a little more vertical, just so that it looks different than the others. I almost feel like I made a mistake by not just biting the bullet and giving us a little lip there to work with, but maybe it'll be okay. That looks pretty bad right now. Just the repeating is kind of a little too much. Let's do, should have an option to start at a random stage. Use stage range. Here, start from random stage. So it's already starting from a random stage. Let's see what that looks like in motion. Maybe there's enough variety throughout the animation to break this up. I'm gonna guess not, but it's worth a try because otherwise we've got to go with a particle fire, which I think, you know, couldn't look good, but it's generally not going to look as good as a flipbook fire. So this is like a nice cartoon style flipbook fire. Let's get in there. And we will go ahead and load up our save. I could do that, but then the coals would need to be bookended somehow down there. Honestly, the easiest thing for me to do would just be to project a little lip. It wouldn't even be that hard. It would probably take like 5 minutes. I don't know why. For some reason, I'm so resistant. I guess just checking out all the stuff. I should just do it. Just do it. I will. Yeah, see, the flipbook fire looks dope, but like it reads well. Like when I squint, it looks good, but it's repeating too much. I think we need to find a way to just vary up what's going on here. And it's very difficult to tell how it looks at the prefab level. So it's so laggy here, but let me see if I can like make one of these really wide. How much will it tolerate? And then let's delete the other one. Yeah, it doesn't really tolerate being wide very well. Sort of makes them look strange. It's also not really, the fire's not evolving the way that I think we would expect it to. I don't think we're going to get away with the flipbook fire here. The only thing I can think of maybe is if it was just a very large fire, like... Oops. What if we did like something like this, then it starts to be proportioned a little bit better. Maybe if we can just simply do less of them so that they're repeating less, we might be able to get away with this. I think we're gonna have to do something. It just looks too cool. So let's make the bottom edge of this thing so that we don't have to worry about you know, selling the illusion that it's in this thing. It's really not hard. So I'm just going to type in 7th Shrine, and we're going to check out the mesh for this thing, and then I'm going to go into Perforce and open up the models and blends, and let's get the 7th Shrine. Oh, I saw something that was not checked out. Oh no, it wasn't. Going crazy. Okay, 7th Shrine. Let's check out that Blender file, and then let's export this. Woozy Face, hello and welcome. What does the lurk command usually do? I'm kind of a Twitch idiot. Let me see if I can learn some Twitch. You know what lurking means, but I don't know what the lurk command usually wants to do, which I apologize for. All right, so to make the lip, it's really, really not that hard. I don't know why I need to complain about it and try to do weird solutions instead of just getting it done. So I'll give myself just a little bit of space there, and then look at this from the camera's view and just cut it. It's a joke. It's so easy. And it doesn't need to be perfect if the edge isn't quite aligning. It's not the end of the world. You just get a little bit of blackness, a little bit of fringing, but you only see the fringing at the moment that the thing is passing through. So it's really not a big deal. And then we delete the top. So now we have that little mesh edge there. Oops, it's completely misaligned though. So in order to align it, I just need to move it up until it just goes right over the top. And then in theory, it should be like it's not even there, which I don't even see it. So if I put it on a different layer and then enable the layer. Oh, whoops. So that whole thing, let's partition it into a different object. And then look through the camera, and I'm just going to turn it off and on. Yeah, I literally can't see it turning off and on, which means it's a perfect match. And now I'll put it back on the main layer. The only thing we need to make sure to do is we do need to update the collision because we have pushed it out a little bit. So you just want that collision to accommodate. And I will need to check out this as well. So it's called Seventh Shrine. Let me just get the Seventh Shrine fizz and check that out. And let me just push this forward. I'll turn on the layer so I can see what I'm doing. And I'll just push this forward until it covers that, just to make sure we don't clip through it. And I'll export everything. That's it. That's all it took. I don't even think that took 5 minutes. I think that took 2 minutes. What lazy. Woozy Face says it means they're just announcing that they're not typing anymore. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, okay. Ryan JQ asks, is the new baby due? The new baby has come, and he's 3 weeks old. So we have 2 babies. And work is happening sometimes. So that's good. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem like the export has updated. So here's the Seventh Shrine. I wonder, did I forget to mark it for update? Let's see. Unity, models, exports. It seems like the export should have worked. There we go. Now it's working. I don't know why it didn't up. Oh, no, it didn't. Oh, this is part of a separate object, right? That's what's going on. We should have another object. So it's Seventh Shrine. What? Seventh Shrine. Let's see. What am I doing wrong? This is called Seventh Shrine, and it has everything in it. There surely is something else here. What is going on? What have I done? Did I not parents? That's the only thing I can think of is that. Whoa, wait a minute here. Seventh Shrine. Oh, the Shrine we forgot to check out. So we need our Shrine, and then we need to export. There we go. Okay. Thank you, Teresa. And thank you, Ryan JQ. Everyone is healthy. Yes, it was a not the ideal birth, but everyone is all right and everyone is healing. Do you have to be careful who you let in the house? We don't have a lot of visitors lately anyway, because we're working with every single second that we can. But yeah, generally it's just Jacqueline's family is helping us a lot with childcare right now. So, but I mean, that being said, Ollie goes to preschool. Most parents don't take their kids out of preschool when the other one comes. So I don't really know anyone more dangerous than Ollie. I mean, that dude is sick. Like, he's sick like once a month probably, because he's been in preschool for like 6 months now, but they just get sick all the time. He doesn't care at all. He's like, he just tanks it, and he doesn't really get fussy about it or anything. He's just got snot icicles coming down, but he's just like totally happy. And we get sick all the time too. This is one of the things that nobody talks about. Everyone talks about the sleep deprivation and how hard it is to have little ones, but nobody talks about the fact that you will spend 30% of your life sick for the foreseeable future. This is one of the worst parts, really. Just being sick all the time. I've been sick like 6 times in the last 8 months, I feel like. I've never gotten sick that many times. It's crazy. They're just little germ vectors. Preschool kids are cesspools. Yes, this is true. Yeah, and then when you're sick, it's like different being sick as a parent, because like ain't nobody gives a shit that you're sick. Like, it's not like your kid is gonna be like, oh, you're sick, I'll take it easy on you. You still have to parent and wake up in the middle of the night and stuff and not get much sleep. It's like being sick is so much worse, and you're sick like 5 times as often. And then when your kid is sick, it's almost, it's not almost, it's worse than when you're sick, because they don't sleep through the night and they're crying and you feel bad for them. But like I said, these days are my son Oliver is his name. He is he's a little tank, man. He weathers it better than I do. I'm more of a baby when I'm sick than he is. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, before you would just die of stuff like typhoid and Spanish flu and measles and all kinds of things. Yeah, Ollie loves being a big bro. He talks about the new one all the time. Kisses his head and stuff. He loves it. He's literally like obsessed with him. He comes downstairs and he always asks where he is, and he wants to go see him and stuff. And he likes to pet him and stuff. He absolutely loves him. And he's not jealous of him at all. Ever. So it's pretty awesome. Okay, so I'm just putting less fires here, and hopefully that will just make it. That'll just make this thing look better. Not like it's, tiling, repeating so much. No, I wouldn't give us that much credit. I think that because we have so much childcare help right now, I think that's helping a lot. Because he doesn't feel starved for attention. He's also just how he's wired. He's not really a very attention. Even like when he wants you to play with him, he's like, "Will you come play with me?" And then if you like try to participate in the play, he's like constantly correcting your like he wants things like he's doing his thing and he just wants you to sit there and watch him, but he doesn't necessarily want you to mess with his with whatever he's doing, lining up his cars or whatever. So he's a pretty independent kid. I think we just got a little lucky with the genes. At least with regards to jealousy. He's just not very jealous or possessive or anything over us. And even if he says like, I want to play with you, he says that all the time. If you're like, no, I'm doing something, he'll just be like, all right. It's not, doesn't like throw a tantrum over it or anything. Okay, that fire looks pretty decent from here. I wish that they would like, I don't, I want them to like overlap a little bit more, but since it's an additive shader, when they do overlap, they tend to get a little over bright. Let's see how that one is in action. Ryan JQ says, are you ready for a third? No, we've already rolled the dice twice. We've rolled the dice. I feel like every time you have a kid, you roll the dice because you don't know if something bad is going to happen. And nothing bad has happened. Well, nothing super bad. You know, nothing as bad as it could have been. And we got 2 healthy kids, and that's it. We've replaced ourselves. We've done our part to maintain the human species. Not that that is really a priority of anyone sensible, but if it was, then we've done our part. And we like them. They're good little dudes. And now it's time to close down the shop. And let them grow. Maybe to school age when they go to school for 6.5 hours a day, and then we can have some more of our own lives back. They are really cute at this age, though. I'll probably miss it when it's over. I'm sure I won't remember how hard it is. Oops. Okay, so let's load up that game, go in there, and check out our fire. No, we won't be returning them. No, we won't be leaving them on the church doorstep. Hey, now Nani says toddlers are the most psycho and also the funniest creatures. Yeah, they really are. They say some pretty funny things. This song is so beautiful. It's pretty new to me. They do say some pretty deep things sometimes. It's true. All right, so here's what our fire looks like now. I don't know. I don't know. It's just like, it's just weird with how repeaty it is. It's like there's not enough variety there in the flames. I wonder if that middle one can be tolerated to get a little bit wider. What if they all were scaled a little bit wider? What would that do? Sort of cover have more overlap there. It is pretty big fire. Okay, let's scale them all even a little bit wider, and I'm going to push them all down. Hey. Hey. That kind of works. I mean, it's pretty intense. Another thing we could do is maybe turn down the brightness of them. But I think that could work. Of course, we needed like a roaring fire sound. That fire is pretty massive. Let's scale the whole thing down a little bit. Yeah, I think that that could work. I think that looks pretty cool. It's not as cool as I would say as the fire Jacqueline drew, and but you know, it's good enough. Not everything can be the best. And when they all scale up like that, they can all scale up and move up. Yeah, that looks pretty raging, that fire. I think that's gonna work. And as far as the glow, does it look better with the glow? The glow is actually not as strong as I thought it was gonna be. So this is without glow, with glow. Yeah, pretty clearly the glow is preferable. So let me copy, at least copy the transforms of the glow. And I think we're cooking here. I think this is going to work. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Oxy says, fire might look too intense. I agree. I'm going to try to get a little more tame. Once you throw the moss in, it's supposed to really pick up and be a proper pyre. And we'll, you know, let it be really big for that. But I do think it's at the very least too bright. Oh, that's also a factor. Yeah, you might not see the moss being tossed in. Let me look back to the concepts. Jacqueline's fire really is very small. It's more like a propane fire. One thing that we could at least try, we could try the particle fire. We've given this a fair shot, and we know that this can kind of work. I just made them all a little bit wider like that. That's what I did, and then I scaled them all down on globally with each other, and then I shoved them in a little bit. That's what I did. So this is the flipbook style fire. So let me create a game object and then stick the flipbook fire in there. Call this like I'll call this like a tune fire. Let's try, we have an entirely different style of fire. Oh, the only other thing I'll do is I will take the fire flipbook. Oh, look, we already have a fire flipbook dim. Let's just put that one on there. Look at that. That completely changes, because now it's not so blastingly bright. Okay, but cool. We'll keep that on the shelf for now. And now we'll try our other fires. So we have a couple fires. Let's constrain this to prefabs. So there's our flipbook fire. Let's see if it's this one. Is this the one? Wildfire. Yeah, so here's our particle fire. So I will unpack this prefab. Unpack prefab, and let's take our wildfire. And this one's going to be so much easier, I think, for us to author, because oh, this is actually kind of an issue. It would be easier if this thing, instead of looking at the camera, which I think is what they're billboarding right now, let's just do like vertical billboard. Oh, that still looks at the camera. How about no billboard at all, just a mesh? Stretched billboard. I actually don't know how to do this. I don't know how to make them always face the camera, so I'm going to go with vertical billboard. That should at least keep them tame when we're looking at them from the camera's perspective. It should be fine. Anyway, let's look at the emission. Well, first of all, they've gotten a little bit smaller. So let me increase their size. And I will make their emission shape a edge, I think is the most reasonable for this situation. And then we'll increase that radius significantly. And then we want to make sure that we've got no funky rotations here. So just, I don't know why we have a 60 degree. What could possibly be 60 degrees about this? Like, what? Oh, okay. I guess it's the combination of Y and Z rotation. And let's just make sure that we've got our little edge nestled in here. And since it's mapped to vertical, there we go. Now we've got the fires coming out. Okay, so now all we need to do is make a slightly longer lifetime. Lifetime is between 2 and 2. How about lifetime between 2.5 and 3? And then we just need way more rate. I'll reduce the radius of that. See, that looks... Right now it looks quite bad in my opinion. What we need maybe is way less emission and larger size. So start size will be between 2 and 3. The ones that are 3 are just way too big, so between 2 and 2.3. And it's just really hard to tell how it's going to look from the camera perspective. It's a pretty raging looking fire. It's almost like to make it look more like a propane fire. I feel like we would need to line up a bunch of these little candles or something. All of these candle flames have the sphere active, so that was stupid. Let me revert. If I revert, okay, yeah, that takes out the active, the sphere. Unfortunately, I don't think I can revert. Oh yeah, I can. Okay, I can revert a bunch at once. All right, cool. Well, I don't think that looks better. That looks even more like, that looks like an even more ferocious fire to me. That looks like the top of a very, very big fire. Almost like a flamethrower or something. So I don't think that that one is going to work very well. Maybe if I kept them really small, like between 1.6 and 2, and then we made more particles. Yeah, it seems like when I add more particles, they really just take off. Let me turn down the lifetime. Okay, sorry. Okay, Alexi says, try with only a glow inside the box, no fire. This way the moss will be clearly visible. Then when the moss gets tossed inside, the fire comes up. Yeah, that might be the right play. You might be right. We should maybe go with an ember approach. But I feel like there needs to be some kind of fire going, I feel like, for lore reasons. But maybe, yeah, maybe there doesn't. Maybe it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, maybe we should just have like some coals. Do we have some kind of ember? Probably not. We have an ember texture. Ember mist. Yeah, probably the easiest way is going to be like just in the material itself. But we do need something in there. Like we can make that little glow. I want to make it behind that lip. Is that possible? There we go. Okay, so I will do like some kind of ember glow. Let's turn the hardness down here. Do some ember glow in there. Okay, let's erase the bottom of that. Okay, and then we'll just sort of knock that back a little bit. Oh, but the fire needs to go out. Okay, so since the fire needs to go out, we actually can't put that in there. So we might need to put one card for the glow, and then we'll call this like ember. And then that will need to go strictly in here. Oh, you know, that could probably work. Especially if we have a square. So let's change the glow orange and let's call this like 7th Shrine Glow Ember. 7th Shrine Glow Ember. Ooh, sparks. Maybe that could work. These are good ideas, Alxi. Okay, 7th Shrine text. No. What's going on? Glow Ember. Oh, I typed in 7th. Here, let's fix the name before it gets lost to the sands of time. Okay. And then we might be able to do something with that shader I just saw, but let's see what else. Tea House Embers. Well, that one is clearly being used in a very particular way. Ember Mist. This is interesting. What shader are we using on that? Okay, so it is actually part of our game. So there's a reason why we have this. Okay, well, what I'll do is let's copy material properties. It's additive ambient surf. And we'll just say 7th glow ember, and then I'll set it to the same shader. Additive ambient surf. And then I will paste the material properties. Look at that. Looks completely different. Why? Did I get the shader wrong? Usually if you paste the material properties, it should look exactly the same. It's the same mesh. I must have got the material wrong. It was definitely something about additive. Definitely something about surf. Additive ambient surf. Particle. So there's 2 particle. I don't think it was a particle. Well, it must have been, because that looks correct. Okay. And I don't really know. We don't have any animation or anything on that, so yeah, I think the most we can do is put like little candle flames in there. But then we can grow this fire. Yeah, that'll definitely look. You know what I might be able to do? I wonder if I could like rotate some of these toward the outer edge. Just rotate them out a bit. Might look kind of cool. No, probably not actually, because they're rising vertically, so whatever. Okay, well, that will probably look fine. And we need some sound. So the embers should be making one sound. And it's going to go into the interior ambience. It's going to loop. It's going to play on awake. It's going to be a fully 3D sound. I like to do the spread to 180. 3D. I like the linear roll off. I definitely want you to hear it from every corner of the room, so something like that. Okay, and then the clip we want, we have so many different fire. Got fire 01. We'll do I think that's kind of a small sounding fire. And then for this one, we should do a fire, an audio source. Actually, we can probably copy this audio source, copy components, and paste it. Paste components as new. Paste component as new. And we'll put that right in the middle there. And the only thing is we don't want to loop it. And then this is going to play on awake. And this is going to be like our fire swell sound. So like we'll call it fire swell sound. Ember means human in your language. Interesting. What is your language, Vanigi? So for this one, we can do probably some kind of fire spell, but we'll have to find the right one. Hungarian, very cool. Okay, that's not correct. This is gonna have to be like a sort of sound. So these are very explosive. Need a really slow one. That one could work if it was slowed down. This one also could work, but it's also very fast. That one's too destructive. That one has too much attack. Too much attack. Too much attack. Way too much attack. That one might work, but it also had this really like magical sci-fi swooshy thing in the middle. That one's probably too huge. All right, so there was really only one that got close. And it maybe is that one. So I'm thinking if I can probably just do it in Unity. I'm just gonna lower the pitch, which will make it slower. And then we should be able to hear it if I enable the audio. Why doesn't it play twice? It's so frustrating. Come on, do it. Do it. So here's 0.5. See, that works pretty well. But then it should be a really loud sound, so. Still, it's like has a weird dark character to it. We could definitely do better with the sound, but it should work. The Evil, thank you so much for the follow. Also, Bulaton, appreciate it. I Heart Funny Boys, thank you for the raid. Appreciate that very much. What kind of stream are we coming from, Funny Boys? Hello and welcome everyone from the Funny Boys stream. We are making a video game. The game is called Songs of Glimmerwick. It's a Witch Academy RPG where the magic of the world is music. And we are doing game dev. All right, rock on. Glad to hear it. What kind of game are you working on, Heart Funny Boys? Also, feel free to link your game if you have a Steam page or something. Dating sim world, awesome. Very cool. Okay, so for this fire, by the way, everyone, we're currently working on a little beat in a quest where you can throw something into a fire and the fire needs to get bigger. So got one fire and then it needs to sort of grow into this other fire. It's actually a double raid with 2 nerdy nerds. Oh, very cool. Thank you, 2 nerdy nerds. Okay, very cool. And if 2 nerdy nerds is around, wouldn't mind hearing what kind of game you're working on as well. Heart Funny Boys has a game coming out in July. All right, so let's check out the Steam page. Game about going slow. I like that. Stop and smell the flowers. Oh, wait. Somebody said dating sim. Coming from the... Oh, came from a dating sim world, says Sarovati. But this is not a dating sim. Relax in your shady garden and watch the flowers grow. Seeds have a chance of mutating into new species. Very cool. Very cool. That's super cool. Playing while you work. That's cool. So it's kind of like is it a game that's meant to be played like kind of in the background? July is close. Exciting stuff. But today was just playing a tiny life sim. Very cool. This is 2 nerdy nerds game. Okay. Very cool. So this is, okay, Bullet Heaven Action Roguelike. Is there a trailer? Oh, no trailer. Awesome. Reclaim the Living is a zombie horde survivor roguelike where you play as Dr. J. Ferret, an eccentric scientist who developed a cure capable of turning the infected back to normal. Expand your laboratory and upgrade your arsenal of gadgets to save humanity. That sounds super cool. Very cohesive art style too. Really polished. And then the UIs and everything all fits together. That's really cool. Awesome stuff. Well, thank you guys for the raid. Appreciate it. Okay. I like this. Stop and smell the flowers. Very contemplative, after my own heart. Very cool. Prototyping a new idea. Okay, the dating sim comment is about my life sim, which is currently just about mating. Oh. Very cool. Oh, thanks. Thank you, I Heart Funny Boys. Appreciate that. Oh, for anyone who's come in from the raid and is still around and wants to know what game we're making here, I mentioned it's called Songs of Glimmerwick. I just put a link there to our Steam page with the MooBot if you want to check it out. We have a demo available right now, free demo. It's a few hours. And, we're working toward release right now. Okay, rock on. Well, thank you for downloading the demo. Appreciate that. Okay, so to make this fire bigger, we want to do this animation. So I'm going to add a new animation component. Animation. And then we're going to want a new animation here. Actually, I'll go ahead and just add the animation to this folder. We'll create an animation. I don't know why animation is always the slowest one for me to find. Where does it hide? Here it is. Okay, animation. We'll call 7th Shrine Grow Fire. Okay, yeah, you get some sleep, I Heart Funny Boys. Thanks again for the raid and best of luck on your release in July. That's awesome stuff. Very exciting. Excited for you. Thank you, thank you. All right, so I'm going to go into debug mode, and I always put this on legacy because we're using the legacy animator. I really don't like the new mechanism. It's like, I don't know, 12 years old now. I feel it actually was already there even before I started with Unity. It already had the new mechanism system, and I already hated it just right away. I really just like the simplicity of the legacy one. Okay, 7th Shrine Grow Fire. And I'm going to add, well, let's see here. I'll just start keying. And these fires are going to, well, let's scale them all individually. I think that might look better. So we're going to start them from very small baby fires, and we're going to push them down into the ground here. Okay. And then we're going to move our current time indicator a little bit and then move them up and scale them up until it's a nice big fire. Yeah, that's great. That looks just like a fire growing. That's perfect. The other thing we have to do is, well, I'll turn off animation mode. I'm going to duplicate this audio source, and then we're going to call this like big fire loop. And for that one, we want another fire sound. I think this fire loop is super massive and loud. Okay, well, that's like a casting fire loop. That's should have some other kind of fire impact, fireplace loop. Let's try that one. Yeah, it's a little bit crackly. It's not quite as much of a roar as I would like. Here's a fire cast loop. What's that? There we go. That's a more roaring sound. What about this cast 2? That one's quieter and thuffier. So let's go with cast loop 1. It'll probably be quite loud. And I think all the settings are fine. And it'll just go right on top of the other one. It should be a really roaring sound. It's a huge fire. Asha Sharma is the new CEO of Xbox. I don't even follow the news. What does it mean? Subin, thank you for the follow. Folks, I'll be right back. Okay, never mind, I'm here. All right, so the other thing that needs to happen, well, first of all, this animation that we made, we've got to lerp in. It should be a little bit slower, and we want to lerp in the volume for the big fire loop. So we'll start it at go ahead and start it at 0, the volume, and then I'll key. So let's key the volume at 0, and then all the way on the last frame, we want the volume to be at 1. Or maybe 0.9, maybe we won't go full 1. Okay, and that should lerp the volume up. Oh, there's a pitch. We don't want that pitch to be different. Keep the pitch at 1. Everything else should be good. Oh, Doppler. I always like to turn the Doppler off. Turn the Doppler off on here too. And then the Ember sound, let's turn that Doppler off. Okay. Cool. So that should be good. We should probably check the animation for this little moss toss. Make sure that it's not passing behind the fire. So it just kind of clips into the fire, which I think is fine now. Yeah, I think that's fine. So once the moss toss occurs, trying to think. I think that maybe if we add a game object finder on this, we could just maybe, no, actually that's not going to work either. Let's not do that. We're going to have to add another fire here. We'll call this like big fire or shrine big fire. And then I'm going to add a bool activation. And I'll just call this shrine big fire. Yes. And by default, this thing will be off. And right when it goes on, it will immediately play that animation that will have the fire growing into existence. I think it'll be just peachy. But we need to go into our code now, and we have one more bool to activate, and that's the shrine big fire. Now, this Gary Moss toss has to be set to false again, because if we leave it true, then whenever we walk in this room, this little piece of moss will throw, and we just want it to throw once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it back to false, but I'm going to do it in a couple seconds. So esinvoke.scaled invoke. Esinvoke is just our little janky invoke that we did that is less janky than the default Unity invoke. You just pass an action in there, and we'll just do it in 2 seconds. Yeah. Oh, you know, I didn't actually play the animation of the fire getting bigger, so I don't know if the speed is correct. But Unity's compiling, so I'm just waiting for that to finish compiling. Come on, Unity. Surely you're not still compiling. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I think that that's right. Maybe it should even go up faster, like almost explosively. Maybe it should even be bigger. We already are keying the position and stuff. So let's have it be bigger for a second. Hey, what happened? Oh, right, we need to be in key mode. Duh. So let's get it really big for a second, just like ridiculously huge, and then it'll sort of scale back down. That might be a little, well, I don't know. Let's have it scale down a little bit more slowly. Oh yeah, and then the roar comes in really fast too. That's fine. I actually think it would be better if we didn't scale it the way that we scaled it. Let me scale it on the individuals. I scaled them all together. Let's go individual pivots and scale them like that. Yeah, I think that will look better. And of course, this will be flip booking as well while this happens, so. Should be good. I hope it works. Let's go ahead and save that prefab. Shake the camera. That would be really powerful feeling. Oh, the other thing is when you walk back in here, the fire is going to get big. Oh boy. I just don't know if we don't want that. We don't want the fire to get big. Oh man. So it's almost like we have to, I think we have to use a game object finder. We just have to. We have to. We shouldn't use bool activation for this. Yeah, what I should do is put this like back here, and then when we play the animation, it'll just get tossed in. The animation doesn't loop. So let me remove the game object activation, and I'll disable play on awake. For this one, I'll also disable play on awake. Shrine big fire will just be in this fire state when you come in. This one we do leave the bool activation on, but we also have to play the animation, which means we need a game object finder. And then we'll say deactivate on start though. How is that going to play? I think we're going to need 2 levels. It's getting very complicated, but I think it's going to work. So we need a game object finder. I'll put a game bool activation on the big fire. We'll call it Shrine Big Fire. And oh wait, how am I going to do this? Because we need to play the animation. We want this to reference itself, Shrine Big Fire, and then we'll do Big Fire animation. We'll call it that. We don't need a game object finder on this. And then yeah, we need our game object finder on well, yeah, on the child. That's what we need. And then do we deactivate on start? No, we don't need to worry about deactivate on start because this thing is already going to deactivate us. And it'll already be active. Okay, so then we're gonna use the big fire animation. We'll call it the Shrine Big Fire. Okay, we'll just copy that. Here we go. Let's save this. Phew. And then we're gonna use our game object finder here. Okay, to play our animation. So, we don't need the Gary Moss thing anymore, but anyway, we're gonna do game object finder dot find, and then we're going to find our game object, and then we're going to do dot get component animation dot play. Perfect. That's all we should have to do. And then instead of this nonsense with the Gary Moss toss, we shouldn't even need a bool for that anymore. I've removed the bool from the Gary Moss toss. We're just going to use the game object finder. And we don't care if it's active. We don't care if it's active or inactive. All we care about is the animation. We're going to copy the name here. And we're going to do game object finder dot find. And we're going to find our game objects. And then we're going to do get component animation. And we're going to play the animation. I think that will all work. I hope. I don't know. And then the fire is supposed to shrink, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Yeah, let me look at the design doc. If you destroy the shrine, the fire goes out and the moss grows. Okay, so we need the fire to go out too. So we've got so many different things here. So in that case, this fire needs to go out, and this the sound should go out too. Let's turn off the sound now, and we'll call this like what are we gonna do about this? Because the embers need to go out, and then they need to be out forever. So call this like 7th shrine embers, and then we'll put the ember inside. I'll turn off this just so we can see what we're doing for the moment. And we could put whatever we want inside here, like little candles and stuff, or like little flames or something. I might put little flames in there. Let's try that. Candle flame. Copy. Let's just see if that looks okay. Paste. Come on now. Delete that sphere. Set this to 0. I don't know why it's rotated all funky like that, but oh, now I see. What? Why is it? What? Why is it only looking at the side? I guess it absolutely had to be rotated all funky. No, it just seems to be. We've just got funky rotation on this thing. Okay, let me see if I can fix this. So let's take off any rotation. Let's take off any scale as well. And then we put the ember in. Let's take off, well, we need the rotation and scale for the ember, so let's stick that in there. Okay, and now let's see if we can get the flame in there. Okay, so that seems to impact our, unfortunately, seems to impact. Good thing we tested that, because we can't actually put the flame inside. It messes with the particle. So we're going to call this the ember mesh. And then I'll move the audio source onto the ember. No, you don't want to do that? Come on. Copy component, remove component, and then paste. Paste component as new. And then we're gonna stick the mesh under there. Phew, there we go. Let's turn off the shadows. We don't need that. And now we can stick, oh, first of all, let's get all the rotation and scale off of our parents. There we go. Now we can put the flame in there. Okay. Phew, that was a lot of work. I just don't know if these little insubstantial candle flames are going to look look the part here, but we'll give it a shot. It's not looking good. Sorry. I usually try to BRB when I do sneeze, but I didn't catch it that time. Came on me too fast. That looks terrible. Absolutely abysmal. It just looks so bad. We can't have that. So the ember... This also has to be glowing and stuff. Like... I don't know what we're going to do about that. I guess we just have to do an animation. Okay, let's do another animation. We could do it in the shader, but I don't know. Just seems like it might be a lot of work. 00dev, hello. Welcome. The game is called Songs of Glimmerwick. It's a Witch Academy RPG where the magic of the world is music. I'm working in a team with 2 other people. We've been working on the game for 7 years full time. It's quite an undertaking. You can check it out. I just put a link to the Steam page in the chat there. We've been working on the game for 7 years, and we also spent $2 million of our personal money on it. So it's quite the risky business. Okay, so here our animation. Let's make a new animation. Create. Animation. It takes so long to find the animation. There we go. Okay, and we'll call this like 7th Shrine Ember Burn. And then we also need a 7th Shrine Ember Extinguish or something. Seventh Shrine Ember Extinguish. Let's copy the name of that because I have a feeling we're going to be using it in code in a second. Oh, whoops. Oh, I did it on, I'm sorry about that. I did it on Twitch. You're coming from YouTube. That's my bad. Really sorry about that. Let's see if I can make my way to the YouTube page to do the wish list link. Okay, here we go. Hopefully that works. Sorry about that, 00dev. Okay, so now we've got to put those 2 animations on our animation component. Actually, one more thing I want to do. I want to make them, let's go into debug mode and just make them both legacy animations. And the burn one should be looping, and this one should be clamp forever. And then we'll go back to normal mode. And we'll continue adding them to the animation components. There we go. All right, so here we go. With the burn animation, it's pretty simple. It's just going to be the color of the material. And it is an add shader, so just simply making it darker. And then making it brighter. And then making it darker, and then making it brighter, and then making it darker, and then making it brighter, making it really, really dark, making it a little bit brighter, then making it really, really dark, and then taking that first key and putting it at the end so it loops. That's probably really fast. Oh yeah, that's really fast. And let's just make it expanded out. Maybe make a 4-second loop. It's not looking too good. Let's try to make a 7.5-second loop. I don't know, embers usually have a pretty steady glow, I guess. So maybe, especially at the end here when it gets really dark, maybe we just don't want it ever to really get that dark. There's one pretty big one in the middle here when it gets really dark. Just make it a little bit brighter. It doesn't look very good. I think it's because embers usually do have a very steady sort of glow. I might just have to make it just a little bit slower and then call it a day. It's almost at the point already though where it's so slow it doesn't really even look like anything is happening. It's really that first dip, I think, that is too dramatic. Let me get rid of that one. That's a little bit better. Then we can sort of spread out some of these a little bit. Cool. Vanity says, which AAA game did you work on? Written in the about, I worked on Guild Wars 2, and I worked on Infamous Second Son at ArenaNet and Sucker Punch, respectively. I also worked on a game that I guess is kind of AA plus, called State of Decay. Those were big studios where I was a peon. And I've been doing indie for 13 years now. All right, that will have to do. And now we've got to do the extinguish animation. So for the extinguish animation, I think I'm just gonna move this thing. I'll just set the position from 1 to 0. And we'll just make it take about a little over a second, and it'll just sort of move down out of existence. Maybe I'll make it take a little bit longer. Should I make it fade as well? Or is that just unnecessary? Probably doesn't need to move so low down. I'll make it fade as well. So I will key that first key, and then all the way at the end, it'll just go all the way black. Maybe it should go black a little bit sooner because you can't even really see what's going on. Yeah, that seems to look good. Okay, cool. So that's that. Now we need to actually trigger that animation, and we also want to make it so that this thing is just off. We've got the sound. Oh, the volume also should go down. So let's key the volume of the fire, and then by the end, the volume will go down. That's when the moss starts growing. Perfect. And then we want this to forevermore be off. So I guess there might already be some stuff here. No, probably not. Okay, so we'll just make our own new bool. So we'll first of all turn off the key, make sure we don't have active key going on, and then we'll do bool activation, and we'll set it for this ember object, and then we'll do like 7th shrine fire off, and we'll invert it. So when the fire off goes true, it deactivates the embers. And we will do that if you plant this thing. We'll do an ES invoke, scaled invoke, that in some amount of time, maybe like 5 seconds or something, 4 seconds, we'll do world state dot set bool. And we're going to set this thing to true. And we're going to do that in 3 seconds. What did I do wrong? So scaled invoke, there's the open paren for scaled invoke. Let's see. Oh. There shouldn't have been a paren in here, so there we go. And that should make the fire never show up again. But then we also have to play the animation. So let's do a game object finder, and then we'll do 7th shrine embers. And we're going to do game object finder dot find, and we'll get the 7th shrine embers. And we'll do get components animation dot play, and we have a particular animation in mind. Can we do it by string? Oh yes, we can. And we will paste in the animation we have in mind, which is this extinguish one. I should find it. There we go. Very nice. Hey, Rock On, thank you for dropping by. Oxy, you had some great ideas for the animation. Appreciate it. And hopefully I'll catch you next time. Okay, so I'm just going to see if that works. I hope it does, because I'm looking to get off here momentarily. Okay, let's go ahead and save all of our hard work on the shrine. And let's see if it works. So I'm going to jump into play mode, and then I'm going to load the game. First, we'll try the burn, and then we'll have to reload the game and try the other one. Seems very unlikely that all this will work on the first try, because it is a lot. I'm sure I've forgotten to do something. When I do burn the moss, I'm expecting 2 little mosses to pop out. And which I'll get to. But first, let's just see if it works. This is a very loud fire sound. Also, these candles are very tiny. They're laughably small fire. I thought we scaled the flame. Oh, I did a revert on them. I'm an idiot. I need to increase the scale of them. All that fire sound is... It's a lot of fire sound. So it should be just here. Should be the only one. Right. So the 7th Shrine Embers should have fire. Just a little fire sound like this one. It should be like 0.5. Surely there's got to be some other fire sound. Okay, there we go. So I just need to fix that. I hope this works. Here we go. Let's destroy the shrine. Repair the shrine. It worked. Threw the moss in, but we got a null reference exception somewhere. And it was, where was it? It was when we tried to find the shrine big fire animation. Get component animation. So shrine big fire. So the reason it probably didn't work is because it was inactive. Because we tried to play it. But we should have set shrine big fire to true. Which should have turned on this object. And then we should have played the animation. Shrine big fire, and it's attached to shrine big fire. So set bool instantly shrine big fire to true. This is weird. Why didn't it work, I wonder? I guess it didn't work because this doesn't actually happen immediately. That's the only thing I can think of. So we're gonna have to do this again. Well, maybe this is, I do want to finish it. I want to get it done. Got to figure out a way to do this. So let's go 7th shrine. Interior. Just want to see it work. We were so close. So the shrine big fire was never being found. So I think we've got to go... Oh, we'll look at that. Wait, we've got something going on here. Shrine big fire... Yeah, okay. Let's put the game object finder on the root and say deactivate on start. I don't think that this will work because I think that this game bool activation will keep turning it on. Yeah, it'll just turn it off and then it'll probably keep being turned on. Shrine big fire. I don't know. I don't know if this will create a conflict. I don't know about the execution order here. Let's see. We might have access to a script that's going to make this easier. Here, this is going to make this way easier. Instead of all this crapola. Let's go with Shrine Final. We already have a script in the scene, so we can just add a field, public animation, shrine big fire animation. And then, well, actually, we'll call it shrine big fire. Actually, and this will be a game object. And then we will also have an animation. Shrine big fire anim. And we'll leave all this stuff attached to it. And all of this stuff should still work. So let me stick that game object finder on the child. I won't say deactivate. And then I'll put this as a child of our... I'll leave that there. But anyway, we can do a reference here. Instead of... Well, we'll make sure that this actually activates right away. So to do that, we'll do shrine big fire. And we'll just do set active true. And then instead of doing game object find, yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, we don't need to do game object find anymore. So we'll remove that. And we'll just do shrine big fire. I'll set active, and then we'll just shrine big fire anim.play. Phew. There's a lot going on there. And I don't know if the other one will need sort of the same treatment, but we'll see in a second. Just need to wait for it to compile, and then we need to actually attach all these things. Keep changes. Okay. And then let's go ahead and click on our seventh shrine. And here is our big fire animation. And here's our big fire. The other thing is I reckon we can put this glow inside of the ember. I think that's the right place to put it. And in our animation here, we can perhaps scale out this glow. Extinguish. So we'll just do like 0.2 to get the keyframe there. And now we've got a keyframe, and then as it goes away, we will scale this thing to like 0.01, 0.01, 0.01. Yeah, something like that. We'll keep it right here. Perfect. Maybe even move it. Well, I don't know. We'll move it like right to the edge here. Hopefully that looks okay. And then when this thing deactivates itself, we should get rid of that flame. Oh, the other thing I wanted to do is the ember fire should have the actual, oops, whoa, definitely don't be in animation mode for this. I don't know if you can key the changing of an asset. I don't think you can. But just in case, I want to make sure we don't do that. Okay, fire 01. And then we have to test it. Golly, I sure hope this works. A lot of crap here. I'll just see if it works. Right when it works, I'll call it a stream here. We've done good work. Oh boy, it takes so long to learn, or takes so long to load. I'll be right back, folks. Okay, here we go. So, got the embers. Click on this. Let's repair it. Okay, that happened really fast. Can't believe how fast that happened. Okay, and then the other test is to leave and to go back. And it's still burning, which is awesome. And we've got the loud fire here. Wait, no, we don't. Why isn't the loud one playing? The big fire has a big fire loop, but unfortunately the volume is at 0. Oh, and it's not set to loop. So I'll have to take a look at what's going on there. Okay, actually that volume is pretty insane. But I think that'll do the trick anyway. It doesn't look great, but it's fine. It happens so fast. Now we need to test the other one. Yep, and then we got to test it. To destroy it. So let's take a look at, well, as soon as Unity is done being frozen. Oh yeah, before I forget, I build up this little queue in my mind of the things that need to be done, and just want to make sure that I take a look at the big fire sound. So in the big fire shrine, we've got big fire animation, big fire loop. Okay, well, first of all, it doesn't loop. Second of all, the volume's at 0. So I think we do just want to have that at like 0.7. Perfect. And yeah, everything happened so fast. Oh, I guess it was just a really fast animation. So let's just make it much slower. I don't know. It just looks kind of boring when it's slow. I don't quite know why. Maybe it was better fast. Okay, well, anyhow, that gets the point across. Okay, and in the code, when she throws, so the drop moss looks like the spawn item and all that stuff, local scale, remove moss. Let's just like not do that. And we'll do the drop moss part. So all that should work. And we'll try the destroy. So we're just waiting for Unity to compile. And we'll save this as well. Okay, cool. So the repair definitely worked. It works in every way. With the exception of we don't want her to throw it anymore. And hopefully, since I just commented that out. We probably should test it again. Yeah, let's just do it. It'll just take a few minutes. Curious, how long does the game actually take to load? And this is the editor, so it goes really slow. But I will, once we load the game, I'll set a timer here. Focus the window. Got the stopwatch going on the other. For 10 seconds in now. I'm guessing it's going to take about 70 seconds. No, probably longer. I'm guessing it's going to take about 95 seconds. Okay, the loading bar is done, but that don't mean nothing. We're at 34 seconds now. Okay, there we go. Took 42 seconds. Repair. The only thing is that the fire explodes before the moss even gets in there, which is kind of a bummer. So I want to change the timing of that. But that works really well. And then we leave. And we come back. And we have a very powerful fire. Maybe the fire should be even bigger. I don't know. Let's see. How big was the concept? Oh, it's pretty dang big. Yeah, I'll make the fire a little bit bigger in the animation. Because this looks like a reasonable sized fire. We want it kind of to be an unreasonably sized fire. I won't test it again though. I'll just make it bigger. Actually, we really should have just tested the other one. Whatever, we would have had to reload it again anyway, so. 7th shrine. Come on, where's the interior? There it is. Okay, and in the animation. Oh, so in order to make it bigger, we need to make it bigger here as well. So let's scale it up and move it up, scale it up. And then we'll scale it also globally. So just make a really absolutely gargantuanly huge fire. Okay, and now we've got to do the same thing in the animation, unfortunately. So let's go to the animation view and then let's go to our fire. And this is supposed to be like the big mode. So let's just make that absolutely bananas. Just so bananas. And tall too. We'll make it like really tall here. Just like huge. That looks awesome actually. Then it goes down a little bit, but it's still reasonably sized. So we want that to be a little bit bigger. Move it up a little bit taller. Okay, cool. And then we also want to do it not in the animation. I'll just take these. I just want to make them a little bit taller. They just look better like that. And push them up. So that's how big it'll be now. That's pretty huge. And it doesn't necessarily need a line up because it will just clip the animation. It'll be whatever the last frame of the animation, it'll show that. Unless you leave and come back in which case it'll show this, which obviously is going to look close enough, so it's fine. Nobody's going to notice that the fire changed slight size. Thanks, Tricky Lady. Vanity asks, do you live in the United States? Yes, I live in Washington State, the Seattle, Washington area. Not in Seattle, but around Seattle. All right, so that's that. I did want to take a look at delaying all this stuff. So the fire and the moss. There's the moss toss. all this stuff. This is interesting. She does an interact animation. Oh no, she does it like right away. Okay. And there's really no other stuff that happens, but what we can do is we can do like a big fire theatrics. And I'll do private. I mean, I'll write it out just because Jenny has, that's how Jenny does it. That's how I'll do it. And then we will just do, I wish that it had like an end action. No, it doesn't. So we would want to get that animation component like this. It's the moss toss anim equals, and then we'll just get the component. And then we'll play the animation and we will invoke the big fire theatrics, and we will invoke them in moss toss anim dots clip dot length. And that way only when the clip is done will the fire explode. And that is probably something I will need to test, unfortunately. Oh no! I removed the big fire theatrics. No! Gotta undo. No, I never pasted them in. What a freaking idiot I am. God, I'm so stupid sometimes. It's so amazing how stupid you can be. Okay. All over. Private void big fire theatrics. Paste them in, you freaking bumbling idiot. God. All right. Now it's animation. Moss toss anim equals this. And then moss toss anim dot play, and then es invoke dot scaled invoke big fire theatrics, and we want to do it in moss toss anim dot clip dot length. There. Save. Okay. That's done. That would have been really stupid. Tricky Lady says, well, thank you for the compliments on my voice. I do have an accent. I have a 100% thick accent. It's called a Northern American accent. There's no such thing as having no accents. Because to a British person, I would sound very American. I would sound very strange. Well, not strange, but I definitely sound American. And if I went to England, then they'd be like, oh, that guy's American. He has an American accent. All right, so we do have to test that, unfortunately. I feel like, did it really compile? Did it really compile? It felt like it compiled a little bit too fast. I feel like I don't trust it. Do we have this interior showing? No, we don't. That's perfect. Okay, that's what I want. Let's jump into game mode, go back to the main menu. Not every British person drops their T's. There's a lot of different ones. The northern, I can't do a northern English accent. I can only do a RP accent, they call it. And the RP British people definitely pronounce their T's. Okay, our 43 seconds of loading here. Man, it's just time is going by so fast. This kind of game dev just burns the whole day away. I feel like when you're just like adding one little thing, testing, adding one little thing, testing. In general, I find that theatrics, I call them theatrics, little animations that need to be timed and things like that, they always tend to take a long time. Okay, let's see. Repair. Awesome. That looks great. Honestly, that looks really great. I'm really happy with that. I mean, the fire doesn't look very good, but the theatrics, I think, are very impactful. Jackal will be happy. That's solid. That's solid. Okay, now let's exit main menu. We need to increase the scale of those candle flames. I forgot to do that. Let's load it again. Here we go. 43 seconds. We'll try the other one. Please work. Please work first try. Please work first try and look amazing. I'll be so happy. I'll be so happy with the day. Oh, you got it, Vanity. You are on it. You are on it. I'm always amazed by people who could watch a stream and actually know what's going on. I feel like when I watch a stream, I have absolutely no idea what's going on. So you've got a very sharp brain, I feel like, to be able to follow. I always get lost. I feel like people like you would probably be really good coders in other people's code bases. You would just be able to understand really quickly what was going on. That is not me. Okay, so let's destroy this thing. Yes, yes, it worked. Okay, it's kind of weird, the mismatch in moss color. I feel like it's not clear what's going on because this moss is very dark and almost red. And it makes it a little bit less clear what's happening. So I think I need to make maybe the icon moss a little bit. Try to more closely match. But that's the last thing I'll do. Well, other than make the candle sizes correct. Because I will never remember to do that if I don't do it right now. So let's do it. All right, so let's grab all these candles, candle flame. I'll put all the candles together. I'm gonna crack them all open like so and grab each candle. We're specializing the prefab. We're gonna scale them on their individual centers. We have very little, it should be like, what, this big or something? No, that's a little bit stupidly huge. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. They're huge candles. Okay, and save. Cool. A bit rusty, yeah. It does look like rust, which is kind of unfortunate, but I just hope, I hope that the message gets across. Like, I hope that it makes sense. I guess we could make them, I tried every color and I felt like that was the color that seemed to look the less weird, the least weird. So yeah, unfortunately. Oops. All right. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to do this with a color adjustment layer. Let's go. First of all, with just hue and saturation, I'll get rid of this mask. Deletes, and we'll just desaturate it a little bit, I think, and then we'll take that lightness down, make it just sort of a rustier color. There, that should at least be closer. It's called corrosive moss. Let's check it out. Save. Okay, and I'm really happy with that. I did not walk out of there and check if the fire stayed down, and I'm really sad that I didn't do that. But anyway, we need to check the candles too, so this will be our last check. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I know what you mean, Vanity. Like if the contrast was too much, then it would just look really weird. It needs to blend a little bit into the existing texture. And I think that that was exactly the issue. When I made it the bright orange, it was just like it was such a massive contrast from the texture that was already there. It didn't look like it was really part of that texture. It didn't look like it was really lerping with the material. It didn't look like part of the material. It looked like something pasted over the top and very fake. Okay. All right, cool. So here we go. Destroy. It's not the right color match. The candles look good. For whatever reason, that candle did not get the memo. Yeah, it really needs very significant adjustments. It's a very desaturated look, and it's very dark. It's like pretty much brown, actually. So that is at least going to look closer. It has to be like that. There's no other way. Let me see if I can give item. What? My keyboard just dropped out. Stop it. I think it's called corrosive moss. No, it's not. Oh well. Well, I can see it, at least in Photoshop, it looks like a much closer color match now. That's right, 43 seconds. I'll scale that candle up and then I'm gonna just have to call it. Okay. Okay, and then candle flame. One of these flames is not correct. I don't know how we left this one out. Should be 4.2. It should go up to 8.6. So 8.6, 8.6, 8.6. And I also just wanted to take all of these prefabs, every single one. I'm going to make sure I've got 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I just want to move them all up a hair. Cool. Okay, save. All right, guys. That is all she wrote for today. I want to thank everyone for hanging out. Should I save main? I don't think I have to. That is great. To me, that was an amazing work session. I've been worried about those theatrics for a long time. I'm so glad I get to cross them off now. I want to thank everyone for hanging out. And you know, if you're new to the stream, then hey, check out our game. It's called Songs of Glimmerwick. It's a Witch Academy RPG with the magic of the world with music. It is not only wishlistable right now, but you can play the demo. The demo is 2 to 3 hours long, and your save will pick up when the full game comes out. If you do really like the demo, then you can, when you get the full game, you can just continue your save. It's a big old RPG. You get to make your own character, and it's a world full of really amazing quests and characters and a grand garden game world that you can explore. Highly hand authored. All right. Hopefully I'll catch some of y'all next time. Peace out for now. Bye-bye.